Well, hello everybody. Welcome to Tom's Guitar Show. I'm Tom. They call me Guitar Tom because I'm often seen with a guitar. And they call me on the phone. They ask me, they say, hey man, what's your show about? I say, well, it's about an hour. It's about guitars, guitar playing, all things guitaristic. So here's the deal. If you want to call me on the phone, ask me a question about the care and feeding of your guitar, or what kind of guitar is right for you, or how to play the guitar. You want to talk about some related topic like the guitarron, the sitar, the cithara, the lute, the oud, the vihuela, banjo, balalaika, bouzouki, bajo, sexto, ukuleles, banjoleles, I don't know, what should we, tiples, citerns, mandolas, mandolins, if you want to talk about pipe organs or piccolos or ocarinas, accordions, clarinets, clavinets, trombones or trombomarinas. You want to talk about harmoniums, harmonicas, or harpsichords. Boy, I tell you, people sure do blow and pluck and beat on a lot of things to make sounds. It's a funny thing about us humans. I read an article about that yet today. Bunch of neuroscience and music, but I'm digressing. Okay, you want to talk about politics, world events, or your own personality problems? That's fine. We're here for you, but keep it clean. This is a family program. All right. So
this might be a day for politics and world events. The primary elections in Iowa City today.
That's right. There's a primary going on, isn't there? Yeah. Well, that's kind of important, isn't it? Let me see. I'm just going to try to. I boosted the. Anyway, I'm just trying to get the sound right. I was so happy to have this little Fender Super Champ XD, which has a bunch of onboard effects. It has a tube in it there too, though. I want to get this out of my way a little bit. It has a tube to make it sound more tubey, and tubey or not tubey? No, that's not right. But I mean, the tube gives it kind of a warmer sound. And earlier in the week, or actually last week, I guess, I was playing with a big tube amp that I have. It's a kind of retro. It's called a PV. Delta Blues. I think they still make it, but mine was made in Mississippi, where they should understand things like that. And it's all tubes. It's very old-fashioned, like 40-watt amp with a great big 15-inch speaker in it. This one is a little handier and has all kinds of effects. And one time we went through all the effects, but unfortunately I printed out the different effects it had in Portuguese, so that was kind of a fun show. Trying to decipher the Portuguese for the, but. Anyway, I haven't played through this amp for a while, and but I brought it with me. So before I just shut up and play guitar, this is my DBZ guitar that I've had on the show a couple times, and I may have mentioned this before, but what I did was I had the guy down there at the Musicians Pro Shop, Dustin, which is, I always thought that his last name is Bush. Not spelled like the former disgraced presidents, but as like the beer. The beer, yeah, like the beer. So, and I think that's what the original Bushes had their name spelled like too. But anyway,
yes.
But I thought that he could change his last name to De Wind.
Yes.
I've heard that De Wind. It's a Dutch name, De Wind, and he could be Dustin De Wind. Or, I didn't say that. Or, actually called him Dusty Bush down there. I guess that's what. Anyway, I had him. There's a strap button that was here on the guitar. I had to move it back here so that the guitar would hang like this. And it seems to have solved all my problems with my thumb being funny. Because I really, I'm convinced that you can play guitar any way you want, but you can be heavily informed by the classical guitarists because they're the ones who really study. How to hold the guitar and how to do things. Because in classical guitar, you have to play stuff that's really hard to reach sometimes. Some of that piano music or harpsichord music and stuff, notes that are close together in the piano are really far apart in the guitar. So if you want to get those big money chords like that, you have to have a really good hand position, arm position. So this is what works for me. So I when the strap button was here, the guitar would want to hang down here. So now I have it up here, and I'm almost considering. In fact, I was fooling around with this a little bit earlier, changing the Stratocaster and actually putting a strap button on the back plate so that I could hold a Stratocaster up like this too. I don't know if that would be sacrilege or if the music police would come beat me up for it. But I have a Mexican Stratocaster. Maybe I should start with that one, you see, and then get my American, my California-made one from Corona. If I like it, I might do that. But I'm afraid, some people take these things really seriously. Folk musicians and country musicians are extremely serious about these things. I don't know if the rockers care. And Stratocaster, I mean, you country players play. I mean, occasionally a jazz musician will play one, but it might be I mean, I think rockers, have championed the Stratocaster, and basically the idea is that if it feels good, do it. So this feels good to me, to have the guitar hanging like this, and so my wrist is straight, my elbow's about here, and I can reach anything I want. You see people hanging with the guitar hanging down by their knees, and they're kind of like, I want to have a band like that, and just for the TV show, call them the Knuckle Draggers, and anyway, I thought that'd be kind of funny. But anyway, I'm sorry. I'd like to get back to making humorous videos. On this show, we've blown up a few guitars, shot it with 12 gauge, backed over a guitar with a '77 Chevy cargo van, big blue one, and I've pretended to fall on top of one and crush it. That was, of course, we used the one that I ran over with the van as that one, because it crushed real good. I mean, I got to try to find that video. I think all I have is a VHS copy. It's an old. I've been doing this show. There's a guy here earlier asked me how long I've been doing this show. The original Tom's Guitar Show was 1990, to be 22 years ago. It was in the summer of 1990 that I taped the first Tom's Guitar Show. This particular format with the live call-in 1 hour format has been since 1994. So in that time, I've done all kinds of silly things, and a lot of things have changed. But it used to be that in the original show, we'd have a couple of funny bits on every week. There were only 6 episodes, but actually, the one was. Here I'm talking more than I'm playing, but the one about we used the crushed guitar that I had already crushed in a previous episode by running over it with a van. I had another guitar that looks exactly like it. These are both guitars that we're never going to play. They were copies of Martin D18s with, made in Asia somewhere, with the necks had bent the wrong way, so they was never going to not buzz. In fact, you couldn't even play on them, but they were props. So I had 2 that looked exactly alike, and one I ran over with the van one week, and then the next week I did this thing to demonstrate the whole step, half step ratio. So I was, because a diatonic scale, like a major scale, it could be major or minor, they're both diatonic, means there are 2 half steps. So it'd be like whole, half, whole, half. As in, 2 frets is a whole step, 2 frets, 1 fret, 2 frets, 2 frets, 2 frets, 1. Because on a guitar, each fret is a half step. Semitone, it's called a semitone. So to demonstrate this, I had the character that I played with who wears overalls and everything, walking. So for the whole steps, you take big steps, and for half steps, you take little steps. But the last one's a half step, which caused him to trip and fall forward. So you see him falling forward, played by me, of course, in overalls with lots of plaid on to look like somebody from Iowa. And then when he gets up, he's getting up on top of his guitar, and it's all flattened. So I thought that was funny for some reason. That was a long time ago. I'm sorry, I'm just going to play. like that. I'm going to twiddle with this amp a little bit. I'm not getting it to sound the way. I'm not getting this thing to sound exactly like I want it to. It sounded muddy. Got all these knobs you can twiddle. You see, this full of knobs. Wow. Boy, that thumps. I'm going to twiddle some more knobs. If I turn that over there, I'll turn this over to here. Turn that up a little bit. That's a lot of reverb. I don't know. Well, give it a little less effects. I was hanging around with Pierre Bensoussan a long time ago, and he's not incredibly famous. He's a French, nominally French guitarist, fingerstyle guitarist. But the soundmen have the soundmen have a nickname for me. It is More Reverb. So he says, you know, his nickname is More Reverb. Anyway, More Reverb. Anyway, so. Some people like a lot of reverb. Some people hate reverb. They like it to sound really dry. I want a certain like wetness in the you know. In fact, that's what sound I'm getting at the Tuscan Moon. There is.
Can people see you live and in person there?
They can see me live and in person at the Tuscan Moon in beautiful downtown Kelowna, Iowa, right next to the Kelowna Bakery.
And when can they see you there?
Well, they can see me there at about 6:30. I'm supposed to be there at 6, but I'll be playing by 6:30. Friday and Saturday nights. I'm hoping the weather holds out. I played there last Friday and Saturday, and it was great. And outdoors in the patio. And if it don't rain, in which case I'm indoors, which is not quite as much fun. It's still good food and everything. In fact, the food's never been better, I think. And you know.
Just a short trip down Highway 1?
Yeah. You can go down Highway 1, but you know, people, there are a lot of angry, frustrated people on Highway 1, and it's like hard to pass. So you have these issues. You have people who want to go 43 miles an hour, and of course the speed limit is 55. You have other people who want to go 70, you see, and there's conflict. And you have people who are you know, faith-based individuals who are willing to believe that if they pass, that everything will be all right, because they have a little pixie or something on their shoulder, or perhaps the flying spaghetti monster will reach out his noodly appendage and save them from the oncoming traffic.
Or St. Chris hanging from their mirror.
That's right. Or that oncoming traffic, though, could be me just trying to drive to Kelowna, you know, at 55 miles an hour. So I go down Highway 218, which is a 4-lane highway, the Avenue of the Saints, you know, on the way to St. Louis, basically. And then I pull off at
Rivers. You can't get on from 80 now.
Yeah.
You have to get on down by Menard. Well, you can get on down by Menards. To get on from Highway 80, you got to go past it and come back.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, boy. You can't get through, or you can't get there from here?
Well, there are a couple of ramps closed there on where 80 meets 380 now.
That's why they've been having these terrible truck accidents and things down there.
Yeah.
Me, I just go down Highway 6, which is, you know, the Highway 6 bypass, I guess is what they call it, by the Kmart there area. Actually, I go down Gilbert Street because I live in town, so I just go through town, and you can go down Highway 1.
They can take one out to Menards and get on the 380 there.
Yeah, or they can drive down by the airport. I got a call coming. I'm sorry, but anyway, I go down 218, and then I turn right on Highway 22 and go through beautiful Riverside, where we'll be talking about that later. The Trek Fest is coming up, and then I get to that way. It's a few miles more, but it's a lot safer, I think. Anyway, hello, you're on Tom's Guitar Show.
Hello, Tom. How are you? This is Louis.
Hey, Louis, how are you doing?
Okay. I got two things in mind.
Okay.
One of them is about rain.
Ah, yes.
Because we haven't got any rain. We need the rain. And I wonder if you know that song, Who'll Stop the Rain? Or I Can See Clearly Now.
I've actually worked up I Can See Clearly Now. I have a guitar arrangement of that one.
That's a nice one.
And Who'll Stop the Rain? Let me think, because we were doing that in the string band like a year or two ago.
Oh, you did. Another thing is about the Platters. You know, last member of the band, the Platters,
Yes.
passed away today. And it's kind of like melancholic type of feeling about the old songs. You remember the Platters?
Yeah, I know the Platters. He probably was pretty old, though. They were around in the early 60s, late 50s.
Yeah, they play beautiful music.
Yeah, they were very good, yes. They were.
Yeah, those are the two things that I had in mind. And besides that, I'd like to say hello, how you been? I hope you have a good day today, and play something about the rain, something about the Platters if you can.
All right, I'll think about the Platters.
Yeah, one of them died today or yesterday.
Yeah, Bob was saying, Bob has his laptop here to look stuff up for us. And,
Okay, all right, man. I love you, man. See you later.
Thanks for calling, Louis. See you like.
Herb Reed, the last of the original Platters,
The last
died yesterday. He was 83.
83, okay.
There's still a group called the Platters that's touring casinos, but
Right. It becomes a franchise.
yeah.
So, I myself could conceivably become a member of Three Dog Night or something like that. But just an old-fashioned love song playing on the radio. Anyway.
Well, I see the competing Beach Boys groups have combined so that
They combined. So the war is over?
well, at least there's a truce.
I see. Well,
Brian Wilson is touring with them,
that's good.
but for a while there, Mike Love and Al Jardine were both touring with bands they called the Beach Boys, and anyway, Mike Love won that one, so Al Jardine was calling his group the Endless Summer Band, but now they've both united with Brian Wilson, who's touring again, and the Beach Boys are on tour.
They're the Beach Boys. That's great. Now, I always wanted to do something spectacular when I was young, so I could be a has-been throughout the rest of my life. But I'm saying it's getting a little late for me to be a child prodigy. But I'm going to do. I Can See Clearly Now, but I'm not. This is too. I'm not getting the sound I want. Let me just, let me fool around here. I'm going to try my SG.
It's probably on automatic.
That's the trouble with guitar addicts. Just like anything else, it's like an alcoholic or something. They say one's too many and 100 isn't enough. But fortunately, I've got a guitar Jones. It might cause some pain and consternation to some, but so far it's not illegal. And there's no problem driving under the influence of a Gibson SG. It's, you know. It's still pretty soupy there. Huh. Well, it was a rather impromptu version of I Can See Clearly Now. Actually, I got that song kind of in my head the other day for some reason, and it was, that's right. Oh, yeah. I was going to do some Twitter things. The couple things that I've noticed lately is Al Jazeera just did something apparently about some of the torture methods that were used by the U.S. in Guantanamo Bay. And what I'm amazed is when I talk to people is that people don't remember that even happened now. It's like, and certainly it's very wrong to talk about it, you see. Because, because we're busy blaming the economy on Obama and I suppose, anyway, the people are talking about how Obama's soft on defense and everything, even though they've been assassinating people with drone strikes right and left. But there one thing that was that I commented on. I did some posts on my website years ago during the Bush administration, was that they were using like Sesame Street songs as like playing them in endless loops at very high decibel levels, and they had a manual saying that you could like play it at the level of a loud motorcycle for like 4 hours, and the level of the sound of a truck for like 10 hours, and like the sound of a jackhammer for only 2 hours or something like that. But they would play these endlessly, Sesame Street songs. So anyway, I saw a clip of the guy who wrote the music for Sesame Street, the composer who wrote a lot of the music for it, was being interviewed by Al Jazeera, which is, Al Jazeera is becoming more reputable than CNN. I mean, anyway. So the guy, he wasn't very happy about it, apparently, that his music was being used. I mean, and it's really good. It's for little kids to learn how to, I guess it would help. I mean, this poor, like, many of these people, of course, are totally innocent. The one guy they were interviewing or whatever was being interviewed was released because actually he was just innocent of anything, and he was just like swept up and put into Guantanamo Bay for several years and was tortured, and then they let him go. So, but I guess the only upside, I guess he learned the Western alphabet, the Roman alphabet, but
And numbers.
and numbers, yeah, and but one thing they would do is like take like a Johnny Cash song and then a heavy metal song, and then they play the two out of sync with each other so that the rhythms wouldn't be synchronized, and they would drive people crazy. So it was weaponized. They had weaponized music during this era. So
I remember when we invaded Panama, Noriega had asylum in some church down there, and they set up sound trucks around the church, and they played Nancy Sinatra's "These Boots Are Made for Walking" 24 hours a day.
yeah, that would drive you crazy. Although that little bass riff is nice, but actually we should make jokes about this because weaponizing music is something I'm against. But I just noticed that the yellow in my PATV T-shirt is just green enough or something that you can.
Oh, you can see the background through you.
Yeah, I'm looking through you and you're not there. We had a good time the other day. A couple days ago we had the Kids Fest. We had a PATV booth set up next to the costume booth from the public library, and we put a bunch of kids on TV in front of the green screen so they could play around in front of the moon. Or I guess this year it was scuba diving with fish under the ocean, colorful fish and octopus, And then they were
Octopus's garden.
what?
In an octopus's garden.
Yeah. I'd like to be under the sea in an octopus's garden. But they also had like jets, like fighter jets flying around, stuff up in the clouds, and they had a roller coaster ride. Anyway.
You started to tell us about your appearance at Truck Fest.
Yes. Well, I have a T-shirt for that too. I've worn it already, but no, the string band, which has been on this program a few times in the past, and usually for the Uptown Bills, special Uptown Bills, but we don't have a name, just called the string band. We had to come up with a name, so we call them Tom and the Tribbles. The Tribbles, like the trouble with Tribbles, Tom and the Tribbles. And Tom and the Tribbles are going to play at Trek Fest, which is June 30th. And we have the 11:15 to 1:15 slot, right in the middle of the day.
That's in Riverside, Iowa.
Riverside, Iowa, Trek Fest, June 30th, right, lunchtime. And we get
Yes.
meal tickets and free T-shirts. So that's how we're paid. But I was actually going to try to find a couple of ringers because Ed, the mandolin player, can't make it. I guess he'll be driving back from Chicago at that time. So we're going to have, we're one short. I was going to try to find like a violin player or another mandolin player. But, and I'm also trying to, I tried to get this one,
I'll move.
one of the waitresses at Tuscan Moon to fill in as a fiddler, but she's busy too.
To it.
So I'm going to try to get her cousin to come on and sing. But anyway, at least there'll be 5 of us, Tom and the Tribbles. And we're going to do a whole bunch of different stuff with possibly, some songs we don't normally do. We're going to do some country western stuff, a little bit of, some fiddle tunes, some, rock and roll from the old days. Well, we have actually a western song. We're going to do Detour, which is
There's Muddy Road Ahead.
Muddy Road Ahead, Detour. Ahead. That's actually not a country. It's a western song. See, there's country and western. That would be a western song because it's like a cowboy singer. We had a picture of him with his cowboy hat on, and when we listened to the YouTube clip. But anyway, we're going to do a bunch of stuff like that, and it should be fun. I think it'll be also a thrill because I promised my. This poor string band. They're my students, So we'll have banjo, string bass, accordion, ukuleles, guitars. I don't know if I have a mandolin because it looks like if anybody's going to play mandolin, it's going to be me. But we might get a couple of ringers to sit in with us. Looking for a violin maybe to cover for the fiddle tune and things that we usually have the mandolin do. Anyway, yeah, it should be good, clean fun. So my other story that I'm going to bore people with, I should be playing guitar, but I will play guitar in 1 minute, is that down Tuscan Moon this last weekend, Friday and Saturday nights, Warren and Paula, the owners, were actually they were in San Diego for the weekend. So Jim, the bartender, ran the show, and everything went fine. It was great. Everything was great. But I was sitting there with this couple who are regulars, and they were sitting right next to me where I play out there, trying to think of what we could do. It would be kind of like, what do you do what do you do when your parents are away? You have a big party. So we could drink up all the expensive scotch, or we could have a food fight or something. And it didn't seem like either one of those were the right idea. And because I just drink iced tea anyway. I mean, it looks like scotch from a distance, like a great big scotch. But anyway, so what I did was I've been banned from playing Star of the County Down because Paula doesn't like that song. And so she was gone, so I played Star of the County Down. And as I was, because I was explaining to them, because we're deciding what to do, so I said, I'll play Star of the County Down. That's what I'll be doing this naughty. And when I did play it, a fella comes by, a silver-haired gentleman, and he puts $5 in my tip jar, and he says, that was great. Play some more of that Irish stuff. So there you go. Anyway.
Oh, I agree 100%. I like that song too. Yeah. And I heard it first here on this show, and so it's a favorite of mine. Well, I'm an innocent kid too, so when my parents would be away, instead of watching Ed Sullivan, which is what my mother commandeered on Sunday nights, my brother and I used to watch Car 54, Where Are You?
Oh, yeah, there you go. That's how you sin, but... Well, the thing is that if we had a food fight, the staff would have to clean it up. So it really wouldn't be that great a victory anyway. And if I drank up all the expensive scotch, I suppose I'd have to, if I made it home without getting arrested or in a wreck, I'd wake up with a terrible headache. So anyway. So that's the opposite of weaponizing music. Well, no, not exactly the opposite. switch guitars. Here we go. I wanted to play the melody on the DBZ after I used the SG for the rhythm. Gotta be careful. The Gibson necks break really easily. Okay. See, that's the thing. People wonder what. Most people wouldn't even notice the difference between two guitars, but for me, it's like huge. Like there's a difference between a Ferrari and a dump truck, and both of them are extremely useful. Sometimes you know. That second version was the perhaps an earlier version of this song. I think it had the same basic lyrics were in a couple of different tunes. And the second one I played at the start of the Counting Down, the ones in the 3/4, maybe 6/8 time, I think it was first published in the very early 1700s, first appeared in print. So if anybody asks if you know any oldies, you'll say, well, Yeah, I know some oldies. I know one. We talked about this earlier on a couple of. Last month's Tom's Guitar Show special. We talked about Adam Dalal. It was in the 13th century, 12 something to whatever, and I played a song by him. This "Come With Me, My Giselle." That's like an 800-year-old song. It was on the hit parade 800 years ago. So, anyway. I think this is supposed to be like a rock and roll guitar, but I put these, I set up a little differently. I put these big flat round strings on it. So I've turned it into like a jazz guitar. I don't know why, I just... I think the thing is that it's not like I'm a gentleman, but I'm, I guess I'm an older fella. I'm having fun. One of the design features of this guitar is it has a rather long space in between here. This is a stop bridge. And,
were you just playing with Bernard Herrmann's riff from Psycho, the shower scene? Or no, it was some Bernard Herrmann thing. I don't know if it was Psycho or...
I don't know.
I'll have to track that down and see that, yeah. I'll track that down. Next week we'll figure out what that's from.
All right, I'm just...
Of course, it was a spontaneous invention, but great minds think alike, so...
That's right. Well, maybe that's what it was. Maybe he figured out the same thing. I was just saying some nonsense. I forget what I was talking about. It doesn't really matter anyway, probably around here. But at the same time, I was thinking about... that's what happens when you talk about one thing, but you're thinking about something else. I actually read the manual or whatever, or maybe it was the sales pitch or whatever for this guitar when I was looking it up online. The design, because this is a newer design. It's very, very thin body, and it's made out of very hard wood. It's very dense, but very, very thin, you see. It's a really skinny little guitar. And one thing they had was this extra bit of space here, because in most guitars, like down there in that SG, it's much shorter. Allow me to demonstrate. This is more typical of the stop bridge thing, if you get on this one. So you see this one is only this big, right? That much space between the bridge and this little tailpiece thing here, right? It's actually not very much space. Whereas this one is much larger, much longer space. And what this does is it allows you to do a couple of things. Whoops. Knock over your mic stand. Or, no, I'm sorry. That wasn't part of the show. Excuse me. So one thing is you can like palm it, go like, especially the strings these are really tight strings, but also gives you extra resonance because you have these sympathetic strings, forgive me, vibrating over here. Yeah. Something is different about my mic stand. Oh well, I'll adjust it this way. So that made me start to pluck on it because I was being... And that, because the whole guitar resonates, it makes all the other strings vibrate too. So I said, I'm hearing something. So what if I fretted it? Anyway. Yeah. That's it. Some Bob Dylan blessing. So, anyway, we're back next week, and thanks for tuning in. And next week, we'll do it again. The first 800 shows were the worst.